staff and participants too. So what is your name? What closest creek or river do you live in? Or what creek or river is closest to your home? So like I said, my name is Lauren, and for right now, I live closest to the Cañada del Oro river. So, yeah.
You need to pick the next person, Lauren, or it's going to be chaos.
It's going to be you, Trevor, then.
Hi, everybody. Trevor Hare, Restoration Director here at Watershed Management Group. I live along the old Arroyo Chico.
Now you pick someone.
Joaquin.
Yeah, I was, hello, everybody. I was going to do that because I'm also at Arroyo Chico. My name is Joaquin Murrieta. I live like half a block from Arroyo Chico, cultural ecologist right here at Watershed Management Group. And I'll choose is Courtney K, just here on my list. Is Courtney here?
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So we live right at the triple junction of the Upper Rito, the Lower Rito, and the one south of that.
Sweetwater.
The Sweetwater. So I think we're closest to the Lower Rito, but we're mapped like right at that triple junction.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm supposed to pick someone.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I missed what she said. Did anybody else hear it? Sorry, Courtney.
Miss what I said?
Yeah, who'd you pick?
Yes. Can we have Jana go?
I think you're muted, Jana.
We cannot hear.
Jana, you're muted. There we go, okay.
Hi, I was just letting Dan into the meeting, so I just sent him a link. And I cheated because I never can remember what wash, and I guess we're near the Arcadia wash that flows into the Rito. So, was there something else we were supposed to say?
Who's next?
Just a person.
Oh, so have I been paying attention? Adar? A-D-A, yeah. You introduced yourself.
That's Sarah, yeah.
Yes, sorry. My name is Sarah Bertalin, and I'm representing my family, the Adair Bertalins, and we live on the Tanca Verde Wash at the 49er Golf Club. Catlow.
Good afternoon or good evening. Good to see everybody. So I'm Catlow Shipek. I'm in the Christmas Wash watershed that drains a good portion of Midtown. Basically the WMG office, the living labs at the highest point of the Christmas Wash watershed, and we live at the very bottom of it, right before it dumps into the Rito. And I'll pick Lisa, who lives very close to me.
I'm just one room away from Catlow. Yes, I live in the same place. And I love living next to the Rito River. And I'm going to encourage all of us to use the terms creeks and rivers as much as possible and not wash. Yeah, actually, I was just having a conversation with someone about why, but we use the term arroyo, perhaps instead of wash, if you want to use that. But the whole point is we're trying to paint a different picture of these areas, and often places that are called washes are not seen in a favorable light. But anyways, Rito River, I am going to choose. The name on the screen is George, but that does not look like George. But you need to unmute yourself.
Kate, you're muted, yeah. Can you unmute yourself? There.
Yeah, there we go. I think it was George's appointment, the first Zoom meeting we had, and I've never been able to change the name, so I'm not very techy. Let's see, so I live out by Marana, along that stretch of, closest anyway, to the Santa Cruz River, and I'm one of the flow monitors for that spot too.
And your name?
It's Cassie. And let's see, everybody that is on my screen has already spoken, so I guess just somebody that hasn't signed in yet.
Let's see. I see a few people. Let's go with Dan.
Let's see.
We could hear for you for a second. I don't know if anybody else can hear him. You're on.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yep.
Is that better?
There we go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's always a problem when you've got, a mute on the screen and you've also got one on the headset. So yeah, I got to make sure I get the switches right. Anyway, yeah, I'm Dan Stormont. I live very close to Jana Siegel, as you might guess. In fact, she's in the other room right now. And I'm a docent with Watershed Management Group. And I'm sorry, Lisa, but the nearest river to me is called Arcadia Wash. I mean, I wish it wasn't. But that's the name they gave it, so I can't help that. But it does run into the Rito, so we can call that a river. Okay, and let's see who else we got on here. I don't know who else we got on the call, and I don't know who else has been called on because I joined a little bit late.
That's okay. I think the next person I see is Lucinda.
I'm trying to convince Lucinda to present herself. She just moved. She went back to La Paz. That's where she is right now. And she's just observing. She's telling me.
That's okay.
Hola, Lucinda.
So Mike Campbell instead.
It myself. All right. Hey, folks. My name is Mike, and I'm fairly new to Tucson. Lived here for less than a year, and I live near, I would have called it Alamo Wash until today, so let's call it Alamo Creek or Alamo Drainage or the beautiful Alamo. Yeah, I'm... And prior to that, I lived closest to Garden Creek, which drained right on into the Colorado River up in Grand Canyon. So that's my background, and that's where I am right now. And I'll leave it to someone who's got a better idea of who hasn't yet spoken to select the next person.
Oh, good, Mike. Thank you, and welcome to Tucson. I think the last person to go is Joe.
Is that me?
That's you.
Yeah, that's you.
I live about a block away from High School Wash, and it's only a high school stream and river maybe a week out of the year.
So I have some points on the naming conventions here. So when you use Arroyo, that comes first. I live along Arroyo Chico, so it would be Arroyo Alamo. And just so Mike, so you know, Alamo means cottonwood in Spanish. So it could have been a creek at one time if it had cottonwoods along it. So, and then Arroyo Arcadia actually rolls off the tongue pretty well. One thing I don't like is Rito River, because that means the little river.
Yeah.
Just the Rito, Lisa.
No, Rito River.
The little river.
Well, they can talk about this later. We're gonna jump right in.
I was gonna say Christmas, Arroyo Christmas doesn't really work.
We're gonna jump right in with a poll question, and I'm gonna launch it. So poll questions you all can answer. It should pop up on your screen. So we are here to talk about what you all did to Steward In Place. So we want to see if you did any of these things. So you can answer. I'll give you a little bit of time for that. It looks like we did add a few people to our group as well. I'll give you some time to answer. We've got about half. Oh, jump to 60. For those of you who did just jump on, we're answering a poll question about what you all did to Steward In Place. And this one you can answer multiple, it's multiple choice, so you can click more than one. Cool. Still waiting on, oh, 100%, awesome, thank you. So it looks like most of you did a backyard garden. That's awesome. I don't have one. Maybe that's something that I can start after hearing your all stories about how to do that. I think we've got some people that.
Oh, we see the results, Lauren. Can you?
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought I did that. Cool. There we go. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Great. And I'm interested to hear about other later on. I hope you all are able to share what you did other than the things that we've got. I think that'd be really cool. And it does look like we'd had 2 more people jump on. So prior to you all jumping on, we did have introductions. So you all are able to unmute yourselves, and we would love to hear from you. So if you would like to turn on your videos, and Christian, if you want to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Christian Aguilar, and I live close to the Arroyo Chico, not a wash.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And then Deborah, well, your name, and then what creek or river do you live closest to?
Santa Cruz.
Perfect. And I realize I did say your name, so cool.
The Tucson High Underground. What's that called? The one that's not a creek anymore. The tunnels. But anyway.
I don't know.
It's just a watershed that goes into Santa Cruz.
Nice.
So they put sewers instead.
Oh, okay.
High school wash is channel.
Yeah, high school. That's what I was, yeah.
I was like, I don't have that much knowledge.
High school wash is part of the Arroyo Chico subwatershed, or stream reach as we call them.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing, and I'm definitely excited to hear about what you all did. So I'll actually get started with my short story of what I did to Steward In Place. And I'm going to share my screen, so hopefully that goes well. You might see all of you. Oh, that's just my. I don't know why I have. Oh, there it is. Ah, did I stop sharing my screen?
Yep.
Golly. I swear I had this figured out earlier. There we go. So, something that I did to Steward In Place that I probably would have never done had I not been stuck at my house is walk around my neighborhood. And I found this trail, which is the trail that you all can see on this map. It's called, what is it called, Trevor? You pronounced it right. I can't do it.
Charlotte Gap.
Charlotte Gap Trail, thank you. And I think it's actually the trail, if any of you know, that goes up through the back of Mount Lemmon, I think. I haven't really looked at the map at the trailhead too much because I don't go very far, as you can see. I've only gone about 1 mile, and it actually leads to a creek that I didn't know about. So that was a really cool find while I was stewarding in place. And this is kind of what it looks like along the trail. There's lots of different walkways and just beautiful scenery, tons of things blooming. This was taken in early April, so everything was blooming. I was sneezing a lot just because of my allergies, but it was super fun to be able to go out there. And I really fell in love with this place. I took tons of pictures. I saw a lot of wildlife, some beautiful cactus blooms there, a bunny that just kind of sat there and like didn't move so I could take a picture of it. It was great. And I don't know what this track is, but I thought I thought it was a mountain lion, but I don't know. It could just be a dog, but it was kind of big. So Trevor, you're nodding your head. What is it?
It's a dog.
It's a dog. Darn it. I was hoping it was a mountain lion. That would have been cool. So yep, it's used. It seems like it's used a lot. There's definitely a lot of cars that go down there, like side-by-sides, and I've seen a lot of dirt bikes there as well. But it's not terribly trafficked on foot a lot, so I was definitely able to explore different places where it was quiet and really nice. And this is the stream that I found. So I definitely just fell in love with this area, and I was really looking forward to, I think I went there once a week for the first 4 weeks before it got really hot. And I started seeing more and more trash down there, which was really sad. So the thing that I did to Steward In Place was I took the day on April 11th to go out there and plog, which is one of the things that we've done, excuse me, to Steward In Place, is just going around and picking up trash, whether you're fast walking or you're just getting out and doing your exercise. So that's what I did on April 11th, was I went out there and I picked up trash, and it was kind of sad. There were a lot of beer cans, but people, as I was walking by, I think I saw maybe 2 or 3 people out there, and they were really impressed with what I was doing. So it was really nice to see that people are still trying to take care of that area, and really happy that they could see someone else taking care of that area as well. So that's what I did to Steward In Place. I think that's my last photo. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And with that, so that's what I did to Steward In Place, and I can kind of see all of you. Did anybody else plug? Yeah, I see a few hands raised. Awesome. I see a few hands raised in the audience as well. Did you all want to talk about your experience with plogging, how it went, where you went, and what you did?
I live in downtown. There's always a lot of garbage to pick up, and I walk for exercise. And sometimes, it's satisfying to like just really give somebody the stink eye when they throw garbage on the street in front of you. But it's actually more satisfying to carry a bag and pick up stuff and have people look at you and go, wow, somebody's picking up stuff. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah. Definitely. I did see a few other hands raised. Did anybody else want to share? I think I saw Sarah. Yeah, yep. Go ahead.
Yes, the Steward In Place program was fantastic because my 2 kids are at home. They're 13 and 10, and we are struggling to find things for them to do and to stay engaged with the world. And so all of the videos and learning sessions that you guys had, we all watched them, and we learned a ton about invasive species, which was fantastic. And then we went outside and realized we had a big African sumac in our yard. We said, oh no, so we cut that down. Then we noticed our neighbors all have them too. So we have to start we started talking to them about getting rid of their sumacs. We also knew from Trevor already that we have a rindo in the Tanque Verde Creek behind us. So we're going to start pulling up small pieces of it. We can't get the big clumps. With my children, we monitor the flow of the Tanque Verde Creek, and it's still flowing. I send Lauren the pictures. There's still water. And so we clogged that last Saturday, and there's not a ton of trash, mainly trash from people who go and do little campfires and bonfires, and people who throw their water bottles out. Let's see, we started a vegetable garden. We started digging basins, and we already composted. Oh, we did a restoration project with Trevor on the Agua Caliente just before you all stopped doing any events. That was actually lovely to do. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I don't know, we've just learned a ton. It's been so educational, and really appreciate all the programming you did.
Thank you.
And didn't you just do a consult with Nicole, Sarah?
Yes, yes. So we started the basins on our own a little bit. And since you all weren't doing on-site consultations, I was forced to actually think of them myself, which was good. That was very good. But then Nicole came out this week and is going to help us do a larger, more detailed plan for the whole property with rain tanks and basins and things that we can build ourselves slowly. So yeah, we're super excited, and our whole summer is going to be rain harvesting focused, basically.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Also, sorry, one more thing, the running to the swimming holes, that was also very inspiring. My kids watched that, and I told them, all right, we have to start running so we can get to some of those swimming holes. So we now have a running program as well.
Nice. That's a good way to stay active. I like that. That's awesome. Did anybody else do plugging or invasive species that removal? There we go. That they would like to talk about?
Hi. Yeah, Joaquin and my sister Lucinda and I think you guys watched the video, of course. But yeah, we were like so sure that we were going to find weeds at the Arroyo Chico, but no, it was surprisingly clean. Well, from weeds, but yeah, we found trash.
Yeah.
It was good. We should do it again.
Come to our neighborhood, we'll put you to work. Lots of buffalo grass near our house.
It wasn't during this Steward In Place thing, but one time I rode the bus over to like where Century 12 movie theater was, and there's some kind of like wash or something, I don't know. It's a little thing where water goes down, completely covered with buffalo grass. And so I'm like, I don't think that I'll be able to pull it out, but I always have to try because they were really big buffalo grass. And I grabbed it and it came out, and because it had been raining for 2 days, and I pulled out like everything in that wash area and found a bag nearby and stuffed it in and took it to the bus stop trash can and stuffed it in. So
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's good to feel like you've definitely done something in your neighborhood or in your local watershed. So
I have a little plugging story. Some of you might have seen my video about picking up poop, human poop specifically. If you have been to Sabino Canyon lately, there is a lot of trash. I was there a couple weeks ago and out to enjoy the swimming areas, and there were plastic water bottles everywhere. So if you go out, plan to pick up trash because it's a little bit out of control right now, but picked up a lot of single-use plastic water bottles, a lot of plastic wrappers. Also on the trail leading to one of the best little swimming holes, there was human poop right on the trail and toilet paper, and then around the corner a whole bunch of it. So as we were walking to the swimming hole, I said to Catlow, I'm gonna have to do something about that. And he's like, no, let's just keep going. So I said, okay, before we leave today, I'm gonna take care of this because I can't let this just stay on the trail. This is no good. Can y'all hear me? Looks like I'm frozen. Okay. So anyways, before we left, I grabbed some sticks and I scooted it off the trail, dug a hole and buried it fully. Toilet paper, and I had a water bottle with me, squirt it down with water. And that helps the toilet paper break down faster, and then covered it really, really well with soil and leaves and the rock. So yes, extreme clogging to be okay. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I did see that video. Thanks, Lisa, for sharing.
But that brought several very interesting comments. This is Joaquin, and even to the point of we might need to, or maybe you, Lisa, might need to teach a class on how to poop in the wilderness. A lot of people apparently don't know how to do it. So I saw in our Facebook stream on your video some people talking about that, which I thought was pretty nice that people is interested on learning that.
That just might be a future offering. We're going to see a poll question about that.
So as somebody who spends a lot of time in our urban arroyos and rivers, it's not just an issue out in the fringes of Tucson and Sabino Canyon and other places. We need to teach the homeless people how to poop correctly out there also. Seen lots of evidence of poop pits in homeless camps, but it's still a big problem out there. And I just want to warn folks, I was in both Arroyo Chico and High School Wash scouting invasive species locations for the invasive species talk we did last month, and there was poop all over the place. So I encourage folks, if you do get into your urban washes, don't wear sandals like I was, and get out of there if there's a bunch of poop. I don't know what we do about it except wait for the monsoons to come and wash it away. But it's a real shame because my kids grew up playing in Arroyo Chico and we never saw that. And now they're adults and I see it all the time. And I just fear for when I'm taking my grandkids down there. It's only, 2-minute walk from my house and it's a beautiful place. So just be both if you're in Sabino Canyon, on the Tanque Verde, Upper Tanque Verde, out at Cienega Creek Natural Preserve, there are people who don't know, so just be aware of your surroundings when you're out there trying to pick up trash.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what our Steward In Place effort has been about, is just educating people on what they can do in different ways. And I think what Lisa did is great. And, but yeah, I think that's awesome. Definitely keeping people educated about what they can do to help our environment. Cool.
Lauren, you want me to jump in and share my stories?
Yeah, I was gonna say it, Trevor. I think you've got some.
I'm full of stories. I'm full of something. So I'm going to share my screen with you all here. Let me do that real quick. Because of course I had to make a PowerPoint. Except, can you all see that?
Yep.
So simple title. I couldn't find the right image for this. Let's jump right in. Stewarding in Place with else right? Yes. Looked weird. So as the director of restoration here at Watershed Management Group, I actually have the luxury to get out on my job and visit some of these spots while we're all sheltering in place, stewarding in place. This was a site we visited, Lauren and I, right before the whole thing hit. This is Bear Canyon, close to the border where it comes onto private property from the Coronado National Forest. It's one of our monitoring sites. So I just wanted to share kind of the pre-COVID world with you all, and you'll see it hasn't changed that much. So mostly I've been doing this. I've been writing grants. I'm on about my 6th grant so far this last 2 months, and I've got about 3 more that I'll before the middle of June. So it came at a good time for me to be, so I'm not in the field, where I can concentrate a bit more. And we wrote some really cool ones. We're writing one to get rid of invasive aquatic species in either the Santa Cruz or Sabino Creek. We wrote one with the Sanavir District of the Tohono Nation to do a bunch of arroyo restoration and community GSI there by Sanavir, where they have where the poor population of the Sanavir District experiences terrible flood issues every monsoon season. And then we're putting together a grant to continue working on the Cienega Creek watershed. We're going to put together a grant to start dealing with the Arundo near where Sarah lives on the Tanque Verde Creek. And then we're putting in a very large grant to engage the underserved communities in the corridor, the Santa Cruz River corridor from the Pascal Yaqui. I hope this all comes together. We're just starting preliminary discussions from about Grant down where the Pascal Yaqui reservation is down to the Sanavir reservation. So it's a pretty exciting time for grant writing right now. Other things I've been doing, we have been getting out there. Field work with social distancing. So on the left here, we have Lincoln and Nicole from our shop, our co-workers, working on a crossfane at a road crossing of Sutherland Creek, where the creek has been having some severe erosion. And you can kind of see the size of that rock that Lincoln is trying to manhandle into our footer row. But it's a pretty impressive structure they all built in 2 days. And then on the right, we have Dom out working at Desert Willow after we had the volunteer event right at the cusp of the shutdown of activities that Sarah and her family came out and participated in. And so we went out there and just finished up a couple of structures the volunteers didn't get in. And there's Sarah and her family. That's Andy Bennett, who used to work for the Audubon Society in the background, socially distanced from the family there. We had a grand old time out that day. And then on the right is my field assistant, Felix. And I taught him how to deliver rock in the backhoe so I can continue to work on the ground, and he goes and scoops it up and brings it over. It's a little bit of a stretch for him to get to that steering wheel and the controls, but he's doing pretty well. And then, of course, I've been doing this every single day, and it's driving me crazy. However, it is stewarding in place. This grant writing, these Zoom meetings that we're on every day, it's all about stewardship. It's all about conservation and restoration. So I consider it stewarding in place. Got out to the Tanque Verde. This is the spot near Sarah's house there. It's about the only vantage point of the creek that I could get that didn't have a window in the picture. There's a little bit in the background, but this is basically the only shot you can get where there's not a giant stand of arundo kind of ruining the picture for you. Just a beautiful day out there. And then, of course, I've been doing the invasive species stuff. I hope a lot of you saw our talk along the, what I thought was, I forget the name of the arroyo now. It's actually called a wash, but it's an arroyo. So that's Nicole and I getting rid of a big stand of arundo there. We did that afternoon. We did the invasive species talk. The one above that is when I discovered the invasive tamarisk in the basin at, and you may have seen this, this is out on YouTube and shared on our social media. Found this tamarisk in the bottom of a basin at UMC, one of the new basins they put in a University Medical Center when Banner built their new hospital there. And then on the right, with all those pretty flowers behind me, that's the stink net. And I hope everybody saw that video, because that is one of the most pressing issues we have right now in the Tucson Basin, is this invasion by stink net. It's basically taken over all of Phoenix, and there's no wildflowers growing in Phoenix anymore. It's just stink net. So please check it out. It's all over the internet. The Audubon Society and Pima County have great field guides to it and mapping tools. They want to know where and when you see it, and putting it on the map helps them figure out how to eradicate that stuff.
Hi, Trevor Hare here.
And then I've been just messing around.
Y'all know I love riparian trees. The other thing I love is little tiny geckos. Just found this gecko in our rock pile. Nicole, my coworker, found this, and he sure is cute. He's cold, but he did try to bite me. Boy, do I love lizards. Especially do I love the little tongue gecko.
And that's my story.
Awesome.
Stewarding In Place.
Well, thank you, Trevor. It seems like you've been doing a lot, and you're definitely right. All the Zoom meetings and all the virtual settings are definitely still all about conservation and all about stewarding in place. So, did anybody else have anything they wanted to share? I know I saw, yeah, Jenna, I saw your hand moved.
Figure I should go. I might need to go prepare for my storytelling later. But,
yes, it's exciting.
So, yeah, so I've been trying to do our little window garden, and unfortunately the lizards are eating all the chard, and I really miss the chard. So I've actually been picking the chard over at the Living Lab, and we've been eating that instead. But but one thing that we have done is that we right now I guess it's called a spineless prickly pear is got flowers and fruit and new pads, and so Dan has made the prickly pear syrup with the fruit, and I've been picking the nopalitas and cooking those up. And so if you guys are interested, I just got a blog out yesterday about that, and so it's on Sustainable Living Tucson on how to cut the the pods and stuff like that, and to pick the young ones and all that stuff. So I'm really thinking it's important right now, with so many people trying their hand at gardening, to share what you know about it, so they can be successful and they won't use a ton of water, and they just have that nothing grow, or have that tree that they bought die. So I'm encouraging my Facebook friends to make little videos, and I even had some that aren't really even in the sustainability community to make videos on like how to plant a tree, or in the case this one guy made some kind of thing that keeps the mulch from getting to the trunk of your tree, so it doesn't get root rot. And so he did a video on that. So I was really proud that he did that. So that's the other thing, besides just trying to, I feel this is, I hate to use the word opportunity, but I feel like this is an opportunity for the sustainability community to really get out there, and because people are having time to reflect and to try gardening, and it's our chance to like just really at least just educate them on the best ways to do those things. So that's what I've been doing.
Awesome, Jenna, thank you. And we would definitely love to have that link. If you're able to search for that, you can share that in the chat to the blog that you were just talking about.
Okay, I'll look for that.
Awesome, thank you.
Glad to hear you're harvesting the chard at the Living Lab. I was wondering who was harvesting that, because I go and I water it on Fridays, and I'm like, somebody's harvesting the chard.
It's just
Thank
cute.
you. We so appreciate it because we had chard for 2 years in our garden until the aphids got it, and then later on I heard about, you know, ladybugs can kill those aphids, but too late that they totally sucked them. They look like, you know, some kind of vampire or some sucked all the life out of their chard. So we're so grateful to have that chard over there.
Good.
That's what it's there for. So cool. And it's great to hear about gardening as well. That's something that I don't know much about, but I heard Kate, apparently that's not the name that I was introduced to you as, but I know you sent me a few images of the garden that you've started. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
So I've been gardening for 40 years and have kept downsizing from a 1/4 acre garden to a large backyard, and now in our new house, a very small one, but home doesn't feel like home until I start gardening. So we finally got, I'd seen the stock tank idea on a WMG tour last year and decided I was gonna go with that because it's such a small yard and the soil was bad and they'd had railroad ties and red dyed mulch, and I didn't want to, you know, garden in poisoned soil. So we decided to go with some container areas, and I put in a stock tank, a 2 by 4 by 6 stock tank, and no, 2 by 2 by 6 stock tank. And then we had Tim's grandma's bed that we had carried around forever, and decided that its best use was going to be to make an actual garden bed. So we put the bed out in the yard, used some scrap wood that we had to fill in, you know, the sides to get about a 6-inch depth. And then we went to tanks and got 2 cubic yards of soil that they deposited in our driveway. And then with the help of my husband and our friend, got that all wheelbarrowed back to the backyard and filled the two beds. So I have the stock tank growing now. The literal garden bed is going to be watered with a rain tank. That was the other thing we got done, is we had Primavera come out and give us a bid about putting up gutters and a rain tank. So I will be planting that one after we actually have the rain tank in, so it can be fully watered, or at least mostly watered with the rain tank. We had, when we moved in, I just like had to do something right away. So we had about 5 like half barrel size container gardens that are still going, but it's good to feel like I'm actually getting more done and put the drip system together on everything. And then our electric company actually gave us $45 for 3 pomegranates. So I put those in, and a lemon tree, because I can't live without fresh lemons. So, and that lemon tree is we have a patio overhang kind of, and so we're going to run a gutter along the edge of and do passive water harvesting leading to the lemon tree and a big shade tree that we have in the backyard. So that's kept me busy. And then I was telling Lauren, the other thing I do, and I've just done this like forever, I guess, especially since we moved to the desert, is I keep a bucket in our kitchen. And then, so anytime I have wastewater that, you know, I'm rinsing vegetables or rinsing hand wash dishes, pasta water, anything like that, I goes in that bucket, and then I empty that daily, and that goes out to the shade tree and the lemon tree, to, you know, keep it watered with something that would otherwise just go down the drain. So that's been my activities last month.
Nice. I like those ideas. Yeah, I don't have anything set up for gray water either, but having a bucket that I could just pour outside in my shade trees as well would be a good idea. I like that. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Cool.
I'd love to see a picture of the bed turned into a garden bed.
I have one. Can I share it? Let me find
go
it.
ahead. Yeah. Yes.
It's in my emails. Hold on. It's cute. I like it. Okay. I have it up. let's see. Share screen. Why does it never want to? There it is. You all see that? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It's a way to keep yeah, and there's the stock tank and
Very nice. Did you line the bottom? Is there something on the bottom, or is it up against the soil?
it's up against the soil, because ideally I eventually hopefully will get earthworms maybe, and so I wanted them to be able to retreat into the soil when they needed to, when it gets hot or colder. So anyway, one tip I would highly recommend, or at least that this has been my experience, is you see the compost tumbler in the corner there, the green, yeah. So I had always just had a compost bin, but when we moved here, I found the tumbler to be much better for keeping away bugs and stuff I didn't want to have. So I'll keep that tumbled until it gets like half full, and then I'll move it into the garden bed to like half finished compost at that point, and then I'll put it into a corner of the bed, and then it goes into compost pretty quick. And then I've also started using a bokashi bucket, which has been fun and interesting to try. It's my first year on that. So you can just Google information about that if anybody wants to try that too. If you have limited composting space or garden space, it's a good way to make use of food waste. So that's my contribution.
It's like fermented compost almost, right?
Yes, exactly. And it kind of surprised me at first, but it is true that, when you go to empty the bucket, it really doesn't look like it's changed that much. But as soon as you put it into dirt, it just kind of like, as they say, it just melts away into the dirt. So as opposed to like in the compost tumbler or even in a bin, it can take, months for some of that to turn into soil. So.
Very creative. I love your design.
Oh, thank you. Quirky anyway.
It's very fun. I like that. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks.
I was wondering,
Courtney, I saw your hand before. You want to share something?
Oh yeah, I was going to share what we did for Stewarding In Place. So we signed up for that first day of plogging and had been inspired by the Rito cleanup near First Ave. There was so much trash, and then it rained not long after we cleaned it up, and it looked like we had done nothing. So we decided to target one of the side washes, and we did the Christopher wash near Columbus. And met up with a couple of friends, and spent a couple hours doing that right before it started pouring. It was actually pretty clean. We were surprised. We were hoping for more, but yeah, we got that. We also started digging our third basin in the backyard, and it's quite large, so we're not totally done with it yet. We had to clear out more space so that way we could move the dirt that's coming out of what will be the basin and move it to the back of the yard. And we have photos, so we can show.
Yes.
Yeah, you can share your share. Oh, nice.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah, it's just on phone. So this
That's
is
a good way to
before.
share.
That's
And
before.
you can see there at the bottom there, we've cleared the area of the plastic, the gravel, and then all the Bermuda grass that's on top. And then this is after.
Wow.
Yeah, so quite a bit. And we had to clear all the way to that back wall in order to build dirt up there. And then, tried starting a garden. I'm pretty sure I killed all of the seeds that I put in, but instead some volunteers from the compost that I had put like a thin veneer of started showing up. And one thing that I learned from my partner is adding mulch really helps retain moisture. So we were gone for 5 days straight and had a little sprout, and I was like, it's gonna die, no one's gonna water it. But we came home and it was thriving. So that was very exciting. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think mulch is something that I didn't know much about until I started working with WMG as well. Trying to get my mom into, she's got a few plants that I want to put mulch on. She's like, but definitely teaching her that it helps with moisture has been a pushing point for me too. So awesome. Great. Well, I am going to pause the stories for now. So one of the other things that we were going to do during this event today is pick the winners for our River Run Network gift basket. So we have, I think it was 5. We've got 5 gift baskets, and we had about 17 people post on social media or shoot me an email about what they did in regards to our events and Stewarding in Place. So I'm gonna try sharing my screen again. Hold on one second. I don't know why this is, it's because I have so many tabs open, that's my issue. Okay. Can you see that?
Oh, wow.
Cool. Yeah, so we had 17 people post on social media or shoot me an email in relation to any of our Steward in Place events and what they did. So not everyone that is on this wheel is here today, but we'll be shooting them an email. But hopefully it's automatic, so I have nothing to do with it. So we'll get it rolling. And it makes a sound, but apparently I tested it earlier and you guys can't hear it, so we can all just clap and anyway, okay. Here's our first one. Nice. Yay.
Wow.
It like cheers for you and everything. So yeah, let me grab a sheet of paper to write this down, and then we'll choose the next one.
I think I saw Jeanette's post. She made a basin. She built a basin after BYOB, after Joaquin's BYOB.
Yeah, she started it in her front yard, I believe, and she has yet to post. She had posted it before with like moving all the gravel, which is something that Joaquin mentioned in the class. But I'm excited to see her after picture of the actual basin. So, all right. I think it should have removed her from the list. So, Christina Feliz. Lisa, you were the one that pointed out this, her post to me. Do you remember what it was?
No.
I don't remember either. I will have to look it up. But I think it was in relation to, it was either plugging or building a basin as well. Oh! So close. Awesome. Deborah, she's actually somebody that's on here.
Yay.
Hey, Deborah.
Cool. I can't see her reaction. Oh, she's dancing. Awesome. Great. And
I started on a basin.
Sorry?
But I started on a basin. And then when I got stalled out, I got stalled out because I ran out of money for labor. But also I thought, it's starting to get hot and I'm not sure what I can plant. And then I also have to figure out where do you get those big rocks?
Trevor? That's a Trevor question, maybe.
Anyway, so that's my, I mean, I'm still thinking about it. I've got it plotted out. I told this guy who is doing well, first he took all the tons of buffalo grass and Bermuda grass out. And then I said, okay, just put a straight line down the center of it. This is a very narrow yard. And then, you know, we'll figure out the contours later because it's sort of under the roof line and so on. And so he built the Erie Canal down the center of the yard, which I could see infiltration and I could see the grade because there's a hill in the middle of my yard. So that was good. But now I'm stuck on, well, you don't really plant trees in summer. I don't think that's a good idea. And also I need big rocks. I need to get big rocks somewhere. So.
What kind of rocks do you need? Because we have some, if they're decorative, we have some big lava rocks that we would like to get rid of.
Oh my God, I have a lava rock foundation. I would love lava rocks.
Okay, I'll put my email on there, on the chat.
Okay, thank you.
And Deborah, we buy our rock from a company called Churchman's Sand and Gravel. They're right on River Road. And we just get their riprap. We really like it because it's not blast rock. It doesn't come from the mines. It's coming from housing developments, which is almost as bad as mines, in the Catalina foothills. So it's our native rock. It's super pretty. It matches the rock that you would naturally have down here on the desert floor. So I'll put that information in the chat box also.
Okay, thanks.
And yeah, and your best bet is to wait till the monsoons and assess how your flow paths are when you actually see water flowing through your new earthworks.
Right.
And then if you need any places that has any sudden changes of grade, that's where you use that rock to hold the grade and prevent erosion. But it's also very pretty rock, so you can use it aesthetically. And yes, I would agree. Just wait until the monsoons hit before you start putting plants in the ground. Otherwise, you're going to be out there almost every day watering them with Colorado River water.
Yeah. And what is our basins eligible for that rebate thing?
No, there's a $500 passive system rebate. So just save all your receipts,
okay,
materials and labor, and then you just have to attend one of our rebate sessions. And Joaquin and Catlow are our main instructors in those, and they just tell you and walk you through how you fill out the paperwork to get your rebate.
I went to one by another agency, and they said, we don't help people that have unpaid student loans. And I thought that was so bizarre. And so anyway, I kind of gave up on the rebate program. But I thought watershed management, they do that, and they probably don't say that.
So if you did the Tucson Water rebate class with another organization, you're still on their roll. So then you would just, with your receipts, put in the paperwork that's on the Tucson Water rebate website.
Okay, so I'll check them out. It was the house builders. I was really surprised. I didn't think they were judgmental like that. But anyway, I will check them out and see if they have my name on the list.
Tucson Water doesn't care if you have unpaid student loan debt.
Cool.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Really?
Thank you for that information, Trevor and Jana. I'm glad that we can connect you both. Okay, so that is number 4, and we will choose number 5.
One more.
Get one. Oh. All right. Well, so thank you all for participating in Steward In Place. This was really fun to plan. This raffle was really fun. So
Did you let them all know that they're getting a autographed copy of my book?
I added that in, but you can talk about it. Do you want to talk about it?
So this book I wrote maybe 15 years ago or something. It's a rewrite of one that was originally published in the 30s. And it was full of misinformation about venomous dwellers of the desert. So pick it up if you see it. I'll be glad to sign it for you if you bring it over to the office once we're all open again. But I did provide copies for every one of the baskets, the gift baskets.
Yeah, that is one of the things
Now
that
we'll
you'll
personalize
get in there. Thanks, Trevor. Very informational.
$500, and if I sell over 1 million copies, I start getting 25 cents a copy royalty. So keep buying those books. Buy multiple ones. Send them to your families.
Christmas presents, birthday presents. Great. Well, I think we are also going to jump right back into talking about what some of the staff did to Steward In Place. And I know, Lisa, you've talked a little bit about what you've done so far. Do you want to continue with what you've done?
I actually think Catlow was going to go before
Okay,
me
right.
because
That's
he's
right.
doing a few things that relate to what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So I'm up?
Yes.
Okay. Let me share my screen. I'll try to make it fast so then Lisa can get to the punchline. Can everybody see that?
Not quite yet.
Let me know when.
There we go. I can see it. Can everyone else?
Yeah.
Nodding of heads. I see nodding of heads. Cool.
Just
Okay.
go full screen on that, Catlow.
I beat you to it, Trevor. So this is my beautiful structure that I didn't think I would finish until the fall, maybe next year. And then my spring weekend events, running events, WMG events all got wiped out. And so I plunged into finishing this chicken coop, catio, orchard structure. So this is a fully integrated structure that's meant to keep all sort of creatures out and keep only certain creatures in. And so what this is, we live down near the Rito, so we have javelina, we have coyotes, we have bobcats, we have hawks, we have birds that like to eat fruit, we have gophers and ground squirrels that like to eat veggies, so we had to make it fully critter proof. So this allowed us to put in our fruit trees inside the enclosure, and I think some of you in the audience actually helped install. There's a gray water system that also feeds these fruit trees. So this was like 3 or 4 rolls of 100-foot hardware cloths. It was a lot of stapling and wire tying, but then it allowed us to also put in a little bit of kind of a containerized garden area. So this is separated from the chicken coop portion. So if I go back, the chicken coop portion is kind of under that shed roof, and then in this open area where the fruit trees are, and then we have a containerized garden area that's a little bit separated from that. But then I got distracted and found that a neighbor needed or had an olive mess. And so I harvested gallons of mission olives and learned how to brine. So that was kind of the start of my stewarding in place, was learning how to brine 3 different types of olive styles. So we've been having fun eating olives, and I helped clean up that neighbor's mess. And then Lisa got into this plogging business, and I don't know. I'm a runner. When I run, I run. I don't want to be bothered by other things. So I actually found this turned into a little bit of cross training. I would go for my run in the morning, and then in the evening around sunset, I'd go out with Lisa and we'd start doing some plogging. And the first time I wasn't really into it. You know, I felt a little self-conscious. I'm like, people are looking down. We're in the bottom of the Rito and people are running along the loop just looking at us. What are those weirdos doing? I don't know. I wasn't too into it. And then Lisa took me to Glen Street for dealing with invasives on Earth Day. We found a bunch of buffalo grass. And I felt a little uncomfortable down in the Rito. I felt really uncomfortable along Glen Street with bikers, pedestrians, cars passing by, zooming by, just looking at us. I think nobody even really said anything to us. They just kind of like looked at us oddly. Maybe it's because Lisa was looking like this. So we picked quite a few invasives, had fun with it. And then the second plogging was this weekend, and my neighbor, who's socially distancing himself, just graduated from law school. I think he's feeling a little bit depressed because it's just hard to find jobs right now. And it was his last class in law school. He was trying to ace law school and became a pass-fail. So we brought him over a beer and celebrated with him. And then we roped him into coming plogging with us. And you know, plogging is so much more fun after a beer with more friends. I highly encourage it. If you're not too much into plogging, go have a beer first and then go plogging. It just makes it much more enjoyable and then gets rid of all the weird social stigmas. And sunset was beautiful, so we had a great time. And then I went out for one day with Trevor and he about killed me. We were putting in rocks in Sutherland Wash and I couldn't keep up with the old man. So I laid down, tried to take a snooze, and then Trevor brought out his whip and said, nope, there's 3 more structures to build. So I had to keep going. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's all I got.
Was that before or after I gave you the banana bread?
That was well after. The banana bread had been gone for like hours.
That was supposed to last you a whole day.
But so the cool thing is I've learned how to brine olives. I finished my chicken coop catio orchard structure. I learned how to plog.
Well, I have a question for Lisa and Catlow. As somebody who's never jogged in his entire life, I've run from the cops a couple times, but I've never jogged. What is it called when you just pick up trash when you're walking? Is that placking or plocking or pilking?
Placking.
Pilking.
Walking. Oh, we're still calling it plogging, but I kind of like
Placking. Walking. Well,
we'll figure that out.
We'll come up with a new name and we'll make an event out of it. How's that?
Actually, the first time we went plogging, I did try to run. It didn't work. But we have those running packs, and I had this whole system with how it was going to work. And I had the running packs like open up the top with the trash bag in. And I said, well, if we each wear one, we just put our trash in the other person's bag, and you don't have to stop. Didn't really work. So the next time we just walked.
Yeah, I don't jog, Trevor. I only run or I walk.
No in between.
Joe can relate. And Sarah probably.
I can.
All right, I'll follow up on Catlow's. Let's see, I gotta share my screen too. Okay, I'll see that. Yes? Okay. Well, first I wanted to share somewhat related. Part of my Steward In Place has been this whole other effort of going zero waste. So we actually, on my sabbatical early in the year, I roped Catlow into something else, which is to go zero waste for a year. And we're starting on June 1st, but we've been using the last 3 months to prepare ourselves for this journey. And what we're doing is for a whole year, we're not going to put a single item in the trash can. So anyways, the last 3 months we've been auditing our waste habits. We've been changing what we buy at the store. We've been making a lot more things from scratch at home. So this is a picture of making my own toothpaste, because we always end up throwing those toothpaste tubes in the trash. But you can make your own toothpaste at home. So we've been growing mint in our garden. So you grind up the mint and then mix it with baking soda and coconut oil, and you can have your own toothpaste. So we've been doing that since the end of March. That's pretty good. maybe Cat will give his opinions on that, but I like it. It's grown on me and it's kind of fun. I make it like, now I'm making a big enough batch that I only have to make it every 2 months. So I'm making a batch that stays out on the counter for a month and then freezing some for later. One of my other projects was making my own potting soil. So instead of going to the store to buy soil for my garden, because I was expanding our container garden, I made my own soil and mixed. So I have a picture on the left of our native desert soil. So I shoveled some of that. And then the other picture in the middle is our chicken coop compost pile. So we put our kitchen scraps in the compost. And then the chickens get in there and eat what they want, and they turn it and they poop on it, and it makes really great compost. So I mixed the native soil with the chicken compost and made my own potting soil. And that went in all these new pots. So the other thing was, because we were stewarding in place and not going out to stores, I made all my own pots out of recycled materials we had around the house or in the yard. So we had all these 5-gallon pots that were from plants we had put in the yard that we had bought from nurseries. We just spray painted them so they'd be a little more durable out in the sun and look pretty. And then also the big blue barrels are old 55-gallon drums, and they had actually been previously a composting toilet system at our old house that we were no longer using, and they were just sitting around. So I repurposed them, cut them down a little bit to be shorter, and used a sheet mulching technique to fill them up. So a bunch of weeds went in the bottom, and then I layered with native soil and compost and human manure. Actually, human manure from our composting toilet went in one of them. And so I started these container gardens in late March, and you can see the picture on the left is kind of like towards the end of April, and the picture on the right is just recently. So the plants are continuing to fill in, and I think every week I'm adding a new pot because I'm getting greedy about expanding my garden. But this is another picture. For those of you who know, I play Ultimate Frisbee a lot, although I haven't been the last few months, but you can see I've repurposed some old discs. I had these pots and these, actually, let me go back. You can see these wooden boxes that I had the pots in, and I didn't want the wooden boxes to rot out from all the water going through the pots, so I was trying to figure out what to put beneath them. And these Frisbees fit perfectly under the pots. Courtney, don't tell me when I did that. So anyways, they were just sitting around, but I thought it was kind of a fun repurpose of those Frisbees. And this has been a great garden, had some spring crops in it, and now moving to more summer. We've got a bunch of tomatoes, peppers, a bunch of different types of beans that I'm trying, and I'm starting some melons and cucumbers. So that's my story. And using rainwater from our tanks to water. So I water by hand every day. I haven't set up an irrigation system other than hand watering, and it's been nice every morning going out and watering the garden. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I haven't done gardening like this since I was a kid. I grew up gardening in New Hampshire, and that was what the kids did in the summer, was we gardened, and I haven't made time to do that as an adult. So this has been the first time I've really gotten back into gardening, and I'm really, really enjoying it and wanting to make it a regular habit again.
Yeah, we have a little household competition going between Catlow's garden and Lisa's garden.
Who's winning?
Me.
Catlow's a very seasoned gardener. If I had more time, I'd tell you about all the mistakes I made, but we're going to move on.
I want to know how does paint affect the plastic pots? You said you spray paint them?
Spray paint? Yeah, they're just, they're not super durable plastic. You know, it's whatever you'd go to a nursery that you'd get a plant in. And so generally speaking, like for example, our tanks, all the plastic cisterns, we encourage people to paint them because it protects them from UV and they'll last longer. So similar principle here. I spray painted them so that they would be protected from UV and last longer.
Thanks.
Lisa, how do you deal with the spray paint cans since you're not throwing anything in the trash?
Well, they're not empty yet.
Just don't empty them out.
Well, don't finish using it for another year. If you're interested in our zero waste journey, we're doing a hashtag. Well, if you follow us on social media at all, we're on Facebook, Instagram, but I'm using Shipek Zero Waste as the hashtag so that every single post we do about this will be, you could look at them all at once if you wanted. But anyways, it's going to be an interesting year. Does anyone make their own cheese? We're looking for a source of cheese that we don't have to buy in plastic. Let us know.
Awesome. Well, I don't make my own cheese, but it'll be cool to watch your journey. And I think Catlow put that hashtag in the chat. So if you follow them on social media, you can use that hashtag and see their journey. And I think next we've got Joaquin, who's going to share about what he did to Steward In Place.
All right. Let me see. I guess you're seeing a bunch of pictures right now, right?
Yep.
So I put that window there. That's my window. That's where I'm sitting right now. And it is amazing to hear all of you, to hear all of us going from zero waste to gardening, to water harvesting, to river restoration. And it's amazing what this window actually can inspire. Having these productive homes, we've been talking about that, and how we are connecting from our gardens to our stream sheds. So I find that fascinating. So several things been going on in my home with Christian and my sister-in-law was here. So from enjoying the garden, now we're seeing how the actually rain garden functions here in the house. Because sometimes you build it and you go work and you go do all kinds of things, and you're not here 24 hours to see what's going on. So it is amazing the amount of birds, the amount of butterflies, the amount of pollinators, reptiles that cross through this window. It's fascinating to see that right in front of my house. So in addition to contemplation and working, we also improve our soil in the garden. So we've been doing that. I'm happy to hear Hannah, Jana mentioned this prickly pad, cleaning, things like that. We've been eating those here at the house too. I love those nopalitos. Also developing some interesting videos here with Watershed Management Group in different capacities for water harvesting, different scales. This is Kino Sport Complex, one of the biggest green infrastructure water harvesting structures here in Tucson. And this was on our Earth Day. We did some detective work. We realized that in this section of Arroyo, we didn't find any buffalo grass. But we did some trash picking. But it wasn't that dirty either. A couple of neighbors saw us, and then we know some neighbors that were Facebooking us, what are you guys doing in the Arroyo, blah, blah, blah. So that was kind of nice because we were out in the Arroyo, we expanded the invitation just to keep an eye for trash and invasives and that. So that's bringing community together. And also, we want to have a more productive home. So Christian came with this great idea. She's potting a lot of plants, and she built herself this wonderful table that is here. We finished this yesterday. So now Christian is doing all kinds of interesting plantings and soil structures and things like that. And so that's our newest addition. We have the goal of producing more vegetables here in our home as well. So that table will become very, very handy. And this is our garden here. There are several things that are growing there right now. So from that table, we'll come into those beds. Also realizing that our tippy taps were amazing. We were able to to build several tippy taps, up to 20 or over 20 tippy taps here in Tucson, but also realized that the lifespan of these bottles is the Arizona tea 1 gallon yards. They only lasted for 2 years in this case. So I replaced it. This is the new one, but tiny little holes start coming in here, and that's where the direct sun hits the plastic. So those are things that capture my attention during this time of the year. I love the tippy taps. I think it's one of the most efficient tools we have. Management group, 30 people can wash their hands with that. A lot of people has been asking us about this. This is a catio. We have an Arizona room here or a screen porch. And now we want to have a tunnel here for the cats to go from the porch to this catio. We even have chairs there. So Christian and the cats and myself, we sit down in the morning with the cats, drink coffee, and contemplate our wonderful garden. So the catio is functioning. The cats are there. We pruned the tree so the cats cannot escape. So that's very nice to see the cats hanging in here. They go up, they come down, and they don't kill pretty much anything unless we haven't seen that anyway on this tree. So that's the purpose of the catio. It's been functioning very, very nice, and we'll see when we build the tunnel. Also did additional plantings on basins that we already have. And something that took some of my time is learning from experimentation. I have this great outdoor shower. This is a compost toilet, and this is an outdoor shower here in the back. If you have the opportunity to build an outdoor shower in your house, do it. It's one of the most amazing things to take a shower in your backyard outside. It's really rewarding. So I was heating the water in this pipe, which is an irrigation pipe, and it worked. It worked for over a year. After a year, it's just different leaks and holes on the pipe start coming because it's direct sun, it's a lot of pressure. They're not built for that. So I decided to replace it. This is once I put it down from the roof. The roof is over here. So this is the roof. And I say, well, what about if I put ABS pipe? And this is a 2-inch pipe that I connected it to PVC pipe. And as you can see, this looked really, really cool. I said, wow, this is going to work very, very nice. And it did, but it only worked for 8 hours. Because the ABS, and I knew this, is piping is not to hold pressure, all right? So I have pressure here, so it popped right in here, this union, and there is another union here, so these 2 unions keep popping. So after 2 or 3 tries, I said, well, that's enough. So then I got smarter. So that's the nice thing of learning from putting different elements to see if they're going to work. In this case, the tubing, the poly tube, and the ABS just didn't work. But they're not meant to do that, all right? So I've been learning that. And so I retrofit this electric heater. I connected with PVC. That's working very, very nice. We have solar energy here in the house, so this still, the water gets heated with solar energy. This is only 4 gallons, it's on demand. It's plugged in right here, and that's how it looks. And it's going to have a little roof in here to protect it from rain and things like that. But for now, it's working nice. Of course, we don't need hot water right now. But the nice thing of this is that you can take a shower at 3 in the morning. You can take a shower in the winter. So it's going to be, and it is already functioning very, very nice with the electric heater. And this is my shower that I really enjoy every day. And it's amazing. If you have the opportunity to build a shower, outdoor shower in your house, I highly recommend it. Just the fact to step into this flagstone with barefoot is just really, really cool. So water gets out of here and it goes to water some herbs that we have down there. So again, from connecting myself or connecting people from our homes to our neighborhoods to our rivers, I've been finding this Steward In Place fascinating just for that. Connecting people from our homes to our watershed. So thanks for sharing all that. I'm going to, where is my screen?
I can
right
stop it if
here.
you want me to.
There you go.
Okay,
So,
cool. Thank you, Joaquin. Awesome. Maybe I will build an outdoor shower. I don't know how my parents would feel about that, but
it's very rewarding.
yeah. Yeah. Cool. I think that's the first one that I've seen ever. I don't know many people that have an outdoor shower. So.
And also that thanks to Christian that is there. She challenged me very nice in terms of aesthetics. If we're going to do all this hippie stuff, you have to look nice. You have to function nice, but also look nice, feel nice. And so that's an additional challenge. I love that, actually. How are we going to build this outdoor shower and make it look beautiful? Yeah. It's looking beautiful and it's functioning very, very beautiful as well. So thank you, Christian.
Great. Well, we do have a few more minutes left. I think there are still a few people that we haven't heard from. I think either Joe or Mike, if you have anything to share, that'd be great. You can definitely unmute yourselves and share what you've been doing to Steward In Place.
Yeah, so I built a composter out of an old plastic bin, and that was fun and rewarding. And I'm used to composting in a place that has cold winters, and now I get to compost in a place that makes compost super duper fast, and it's amazing. It's like you put it into the bin, and suddenly it's like turning into compost right away. So I'm pretty excited about that. The other thing I did recently was I planted some yucca seeds from yucca fruit that I foraged along the Arizona Trail last fall near Gordon Hirabayashi campground up in the Catalinas. And I've got like a dozen of these guys that are looking like this or in various lesser stages of health due to it getting a little hot where they were today, but I'm hoping they'll bounce back. So if anyone out there in the audience wants a big old yucca, I'm not sure what species it is. I'm still learning all of my flora out here near Tucson. Yeah, drop me a line, just send something in the chat window over or whatever. And the parent plant that this thing came off of is like probably 4 or 5 feet tall with a flower stalk that reached up to maybe 6.5 feet tall. So that is what they might look like when they're big and healthy, if they can in fact survive down here in Tucson at this elevation. And then the other thing I did was I started digging up the old leaky irrigation system in my yard. There's no point in watering the dirt if I want to water a plant. So that's been very rewarding so far, replacing that. And then finally, I couldn't make it to the live event, but I watched who said that there's no historic, no well-accepted historic evidence for beaver in the Santa Cruz River, because it's such a remarkable thing that there would be, a considerable degree of doubt about that. If they can make their way from the San Pedro River over to the Santa Cruz drainage, across dry land. I don't know why ephemeral stretches of the Santa Cruz would stop beavers from colonizing perfectly acceptable habitat. So I looked into that, and I reached out to the Arizona Historical Society. They've got librarians. And I found a reference to a newspaper article in like 1896 that I'm trying to track down that says that there are traces of old beaver dams still visible in the Rito. So I'm trying to find something there, and I mean the newspapers also have totally crazy stories from that era as well. There's one that says like sea serpent in the Santa Cruz, which, like, you know, was that Colorado?
You are breaking up a little bit, Mike.
Like bonkers in the 1800s. So, so who knows, like the veracity of that? But I'm really excited to learn from it. So, cool. Yeah, that's the long and short of it. You know, beaver history research, planting yucca. Let me know if you want one. Digging up my yard. So.
Yeah, I think Trevor posted in the chat. Thank you. Definitely send those accounts over to us. I think that'd be great. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome. Joe, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Oh, I could. Yeah, apologies. We just had one of the cats brought a lizard into the house. Speaking of cats causing trouble. So it's been a little exciting. Anyway, let me see. Rylan and I finished building his greenhouse, which was a really cool project. So I got some bean starts and some Armenian cucumber starts, and some of them just went down the community garden. The other thing is I'm the water guy for community garden, and everyone has decided to go gardening. So, like, you know, all the lines need to be redone, all the compost needs to be shoveled, all the rocks need to be moved. So it's actually, most of my work's in the community garden, helping other people garden rather than me. So, but the tippy tap project was fun. That was, I think I made a modification to the tippy tap that works pretty well. Maybe I'll show it off sometime.
That'd be great. Love to hear it.
I would love to see that tippy tap. Actually, there is people sending us tippy taps from all over the Americas, actually. So it's very nice to see how the tippy taps are evolving from WMG through different parts of the world and how people is using them. So they make a very nice story. So
yeah,
if you share that would be great.
Well, I put one down at the community garden, but I'm pretty sure no one's figured out how to use it yet. So I need to print out the little guide and stick it up there.
You have a sign on our website you can print out.
Yeah, I know you do. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Cool.
Nice story. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, Lauren, I just wanted to tell you one thing. There is an outdoor shower about 30 meters.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Sitting right now.
You're right. Well, we had to fix a pipe, so I don't know if it's usable yet. So
they fixed it.
He did? Okay. I haven't used it yet. Maybe I will. Maybe when I start biking, when I move.
There you go.
Hopefully. We're looking at places that are closer to here. Anyway, maybe I will get to use an outdoor shower. Well, thank you, Joe, for sharing. Thank you all for sharing. This was great. I definitely learned a lot of different things that I can do to continue to steward in place. And that's something that we are hoping to continue to do. We are planning some events in the future, so definitely look out on our website for that. And we have one more poll question for you all, so if you can stick around for an extra few minutes. We want to know what you all want to see in the future with our Steward in Place events. Let me pop that up. So I can launch this polling.
Brainstorm some other ideas and want to see what's most interesting to you.
Mm-hmm. So give that a read and see if you're interested in any of those. Cool. And these would all, just to give a little context, these would all be virtual events as well, unless something changes in the future and we're able to do in-person events, but we don't know.
It's bad. I just checked them all. I want to do all of them.
That's okay. You're going to help plan them then. We've got about 2 more people that we're waiting for to give their answers, but it looks like
we checked them all also because the learning videos are really fantastic. They're a way to stay connected to what's going on in Tucson and what we can do while staying distant. So please do more of them. We love them.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah. And it looks like a lot of you are interested in seeing the Santa Cruz then and now. That's a project that we've been working on that's part of our living lab. So we have physical posters and things like that of those photos, but we've got them in digital too. So that's definitely something that we can think about prepping for and showing you all what it looked like. And then sharing our hope as well for our 50-year vision to restore the rivers. So cool. I don't know if this saves this or not, so I'm going to take a picture of it really quick too. But awesome. I can stop.
Yeah, so I'll just chime in real quickly as we're wrapping up, just that we are continuing to do, we're planning to continue our Steward In Place effort for the rest of the year. And at first when we started, we thought maybe it'd be a few months, but we're loving it so much that we're going to keep it going. And we are planning virtual events throughout the summer. We're taking a little bit of a break in June for the River Run Network events. I think we just have one event in June, and then we'll be picking back up in July. But yeah, planning virtual events for July and August, and we're still undecided right now when we're going to start in person again. So we're not sure if starting September it's going to continue virtual or if we might do smaller events with social distancing, but we're just kind of playing it by ear and seeing when we feel like it might be safe to return. But in the meantime, we're going to keep the virtual events and the dispersed events going, where we're helping people get out and do projects in their own yards and neighborhoods. So good work, everyone.
Yes, keep it up.
Thanks for sharing, everybody.